you don't need a bunch of leaders on your team. That's what you're for. That's what you're for. You're there to be the leader. You're there to be the cool head and keep them straight and remind them what they need to do, and then keep moving forward through growth. So there's two things we can do as leaders, only two. We can focus our agents on building their pipelines. That's one. And number two, we can recruit more agents. Now, I'll give you an example. Last year was, like I showed you on that chart, we had at least a 25% drop in the number of homes sold in America last year. Okay, at least a 25% drop on average in the number of homes sold in America. I know many of our clients actually increased their production last year, okay? Many of them did. And I can tell you, there's a common thing among most of them. There are exceptions. The common theme is this. It's the ones that ended the year with more personnel than they started it. So if you grew your team last year and added people throughout the year, you actually recruited to insulate your business. Because if you look at your sales production and you say, okay, I have 8 agents and I closed, let's say 60 million last year in sales volume. Had you had 16 agents, you would have closed 120 million. A 25% drop in the market doesn't affect you. You see what I'm saying? Because you insulated your team by doubling your production. And that's what growth does. It makes you too big to fail. And there's not so much pressure on any one agent. You don't turn into a jerk of a leader. You don't start squeezing your agents so tight that they slip through the cracks. You stop getting annoyed about the fact they're not doing their job. You stop to get frustrated. You stop being stressed. You stop being angry and behaving poorly when one of them decides to leave rather than finally get to work. And they take their problems with them, which is themselves, to a new environment. And you don't get all frustrated by that and then, exhibit bad leadership behavior on the remaining members of your team because you're so dependent on those 8 agents you started the year with to hit your goals and generate income. You actually refocus your energy on building a deeper bench because companies that are growing have better culture. It proves to people that people are coming to you. So it's like people want to come to you because it's not better anywhere else. They're all friggin' struggling too. But if you're the one out there growing, you will be better. And that's why if you're not growing, you're dying, because that stasis you're trying to hang on to is going to actually start to die. So you've got to grow. And you don't want to grow because it's no fun growing. I get it. It sucks. Recruiting sucks. It sucks. And there are very few people that have recruited more agents than I am, if there is even another person. I do not know if there is someone who's recruited more agents than me. I've never met them, but it's thousands, one-on-one, me face-to-face. And it sucks. I get it. There is nothing worse than you, the successful person that makes hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in real estate, sitting down with someone who's maybe closed 15 transactions, or better yet, a totally new licensee who's looking at you like, well, I don't know, what's your split? You're like, come on, dude. You're lucky I'm sitting here. And you have to be humble and listen to this jerk, try to act like they know what's best for them when they don't know anything. They're actually making decisions. They're allowed to have a freaking driver's license, but yet they're making business decisions and they have no idea what they're deciding on. It's very, very humbling. Recruiting. It sucks. It's hard for me. I've done so much. I don't know that I could do it anymore. I just would reach across the table and punch somebody, and sign in their own blood on my contract. There, wake up. You're on my real estate team. Wake up. So that's, it's frustrating. So it's not easy. Just like lead generation is frustrating. Them calling their SOI is frustrating. It's very, very similar. But I can tell you right now, regardless of what happens in this market going forward or when your market heats up, if you insulate your business, if you grow it, what's going to end up happening is any decreases in the market are going to be more than overcompensated by the growth in your team. Now, here's the other problem, because I already know a lot of you have this objection. Well, I really don't know. I mean, I really want to have just 1 or 2 more agents, so I'll just recruit 1 or 2. No, it does not work that way, guys. There is a very low success rate in real estate. So if you want 1 or 2 more agents, then you need to recruit 4 or 5, because 2 or 3 aren't going to make it, or 3 or 4 aren't going to make it. Just want my math that up. 3 or 4 aren't going to make it. And that's the deal. I mean, those are the numbers. 33% quit in their first year in real estate, according to NAR, and that's always been the case. 87% don't make it 5 years. 87% don't make it 5 years, which means within 5 years, they're already looking for greener pastures. So they will either quit you, come up with excuses, want to go to a different team, want to go to a different brokerage, want to get a steady paycheck, get a divorce, have a baby, spouse has a job transfer, something's going to happen. You can't control it either. It had nothing to do with you. So it's up to you to set up your systems, you know what I mean? Your onboarding systems and your training. And then it's on them to meet you halfway. Because you can't motivate them. What do you think you're gonna do? Scream at your existing agents or the agents you recruited? And then all of a sudden they're like, and be like, oh boy, that Brian, he is so motivating. I'm gonna knock it out of the park. Guys, it just ain't gonna work. They've gotta want it. You can provide the systems and tools, which you do. I mean, just the fact they're meeting with you every week provides much more accountability than they're going to get as a solo agent in a brokerage. The fact that you're going to have expectations of them, you know what I mean? Like, I expect you to make this many contacts or any other, activity-based indicators that you have on your team dashboard. The fact that you're going to do those things, and even if they're very simple or minimal, that's much more than they would get as a solo agent in a brokerage someplace. That's why, I've ran very large brokerages for the majority of my career. And, if 10 agents were to come to my brokerage, I would always say 1 of them will make it. 1 of them will earn a living in real estate. The other 9, who knows? And that's usually the number in a brokerage that make it. The rest just kind of hang their license there and pretend they have a job. They earn well below the median income. 60% of the agents in your MLS, all of your MLSs, have sold nothing in the last 12 months. 60%. They're licensed, they go to meetings, they tell their friends they have a job. It's just a lie, something to tell their spouse, but they don't. It's a very small percentage succeeds in real estate. So I would always say, okay, guys, you're in my brokerage. I'm gonna put you on teams instead, because there's a much higher success rate. You go from like a 10% success rate up to like a 30% success rate. Still 30% though. That's much higher. That's 3 times better chance of making it in this business. So I would do that. And not to mention, I wouldn't have to deal with them because the team would manage them and train them. So they'd just be away from me. One less thing I got to deal with. It increases their likelihood. So yes, they do have a better chance being with you if you have good systems and we hold them accountable, but there's not much time on you on that. You have a weekly team meeting, you just have a few more people in it. As long as you have things that they have to report and do, activity-based indicators and onboarding training measures, we're good. Other than that, as a leader, you've got to learn to shut it down. You've got to learn to shut it down, because after that, it's on them. And if they don't work out, hit the bricks. And then the reason you don't care though is because you're still growing. Because that's the deal. If you bring on 5, I don't know which ones are going to make it. I can't tell you. You're talking to a guy who's recruited thousands, and I still can't tell you which ones are going to make it and which ones aren't. I am constantly surprised. I can't read that book by its cover. Some of the best ones, I'm like, man, you got the best database and you're so hungry and you're telling me you're going to do it and you're this and you're that, and then you never freaking show up. Happens all the time. Or some snaggletooth dude without any teeth and no personality just works his butt off and makes it. I have no idea which ones are going to make it. So what do? I'm like a big old street sweeper. Bring them in, see which ones work. The ones that don't, I don't get all butthurt about it. I move them on. Yes, they will tend to blame me on the way out the door. That's what every agent does. They will blame you for their failure, not themselves. So get over it as quick as you can. Get over that, because that's going to happen. Don't go changing all your team systems because an agent leaves you. They are going to leave you. That is the nature of the business. They are going to leave you. If they are not leaving you, you are not recruiting enough. Because if you're saying, well, I don't want to recruit and I don't want to grow, it's not my business model, then I'm going to take you all the way back to how the hell are you going to make more income and get more life back? Or are you just going to grind it out and be one of those old 85-year-old agents that everybody just wishes would retire because you don't know how to work the interwebs? Because no one wants that life. That's a bad business model, but you've decided it because you've dug in against recruiting and growth. You've dug in and made a very poor decision that goes against all business teaching, intelligence, and education. You're anti-growth. Get that. You're anti-growth. That's a real bad place to be in business because you're going to keep banging your head up and down against a ceiling. It's okay if you just want to grow to the next level. I'm cool with that. That's how most people are. Then they get to that level and they go, oh, this isn't bad. And later on, you'll decide this. So don't worry about it. You don't have to be with me. Then you want to go to the next level. You don't have to want to be 900 agents. You don't have to want to be that. You just want to get a little bit bigger, and that's fine. But understand, to get a little bit bigger, you need to be bigger than you think. If you just want 2 more agents, you need 4 or 5 because 3 or 4 of them just aren't going to do what they say they're going to do. Make sense? Crucial. That's the mentality you must have right now. That is your highest and best use. You must build a deeper bench. You must. And that's true in anything. That's what successful leaders know. Successful leaders know that if you just have one great admin, oh, that's great until she has a baby, she gets divorced, she gets a job transfer, she decides real estate's not for her, and then everything goes backwards for an entire year. You're either back doing it or you're hiring and training, and you're going to see some people go real fast to success towards their goals, and some have a much more jagged path. The ones that have a jagged path are the ones that move forward way too cautiously. And they're worried about profit every single month, every single quarter. They won't endure a slow market. They'll cut all their expenses, go all the way back, and then guess what? Spring and summer comes around. Everyone's busy. We need help. Too busy to have help. Maybe hire again cautiously. And it's a roller coaster. You can hit your head on the real estate roller coaster as a solo agent. You can hit it as an agent with 1 admin. You can hit it as an agent with three admin and 10 agents. You're constantly breaking through new ceilings that you're banging your head against. And the only way to break through them is with a deeper bench and more personnel. And guess what? They often suck. People often suck. They behave poorly. That's what followers do. But you don't need a bunch of leaders on your team. That's what you're for. That's what you're for. You're there to be the leader. You're there to be the cool head and keep them straight and remind them what they need to do and then keep moving forward through growth. And you as leaders, I don't know if you've been through this or not, but you emotionally will get very hurt when they leave you. But you're actually creating and setting up a business model where you expect some of them to leave. Like I said, you recruit 5, be lucky to keep 2 of them because 3 aren't going to make it. And so you have to kind of in your mind, I would not call it this on your team because it makes them feel less than, but it's almost like a 1-year training period to see if they make it, or a 1-year tryout, see if they make it. Let's see if they can really do, because they all think they're going to do it. Think about it. If I sat here and said to you, all you got to do is get all of your contacts out of your phone and out of Facebook and put them into your CRM, and then just maybe spend an hour a day contacting them every single day, different ways. You don't even have to ask them for anything. Just give them, add value, give them business, let them know, update their contact information, blah, 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 invite them to your client event, do a property analysis, blah, 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 blah. That's all you got to do. If you were just to say that to someone out there that's used to digging a ditch, shoveling snow, showing up every day for work at 8 a.m. and going home after teaching at school all day at 4. If you were to say that, though, it's all you got to do. They're going to be like, that is so easy. I'm going to kill it at real estate. And then the minute they get their license and they sit in that chair in your office, they turn into morons, lazy morons. It's just what happens. I don't know why that happens. I don't understand neurology or brain science, but it freaking happens. So you have to expect a lot of them just some of them are going to sit down like morons, and the very rare few are going to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to do this. And I don't know how to tell which ones are going to do it. I'm yet to figure that out. But some just have it, and you need to make sure your systems are there to hold them accountable. And that's very easy to do once you set them up there. The hard part is not doing too much, not freaking out, not exploding on them, not squeezing them too tight. The hard part is just, it's kind of like, with kids, you got to let them make bad decisions. You got to let them make bad decisions. And just kind of like, all right, if that's the path you choose, man, I'm here when you need me. That's the hard part. And every time they gripe about not making enough money, every time they gripe about not having enough transactions, those are the opportunities to say, well, then what can we do to get you more? Let's sit down and take a look at it. That's when we pull out and look at the matching standard and see how many leads and closings they've gotten from team generated leads versus how many they've generated and how they're doing with all their activity-based indicators to generate their own business. We refocus that negative scarcity-based thinking into activity-based, abundance-based activity. That's our job as a leader, to refocus that. So when they gripe, we refocus it positively. We don't get mad. We don't get angry. We do our bit. And if they still don't do it, I can say, hey, well, why don't we tighten up the scoreboard a little bit? Why don't we double up the amount of contacts you're doing so you're forced to do it? But if you're running around looking for me to give you all your business, that just doesn't exist in this world. I'll literally say, maybe real estate's not for you. Maybe you get paid half as much and go to work 40 hours a week, 8 to 5 o'clock, go get a steady paying job, get paid $40,000, $50,000 a year. I mean, you'll have to work 5 times as hard as you would in real estate and make a whole lot less. The question is, can you do this, man? And that's said with confidence from a guy who's not afraid to lose somebody. Why? Because I just keep getting more. I'll find one that wants to work. And then understand this, they have different seasons throughout the year in their lives. I'm not going to cut them if they don't work either. Why? I can't tell you how many people have just sold very little because they're going through different seasons of their life, maybe a divorce, maybe problems at home. They don't cost me anything being on my team. I mean, if they're not following up with leads I'm giving them, I'm not going to do that for the time being. I'm not going to waste money on them. But you'd be surprised how they come around. That's a lot of people get into real estate for that flexibility. All of a sudden, their kids graduate from high school and bam, you got a rock star. Or all of a sudden, they ditch the zero and find a hero in their life and boom, they go. You never know what's going to change. They don't cost me any money. So I'm not going to squeeze them too tight. As long as they're not like being poisonous, running around being negative or being victims, as long as they're not harming the team, I don't really care, whatever. It's up to you, because I just am not squeezing them too tight. I'm not looking at my team's income or production in a slow market and blaming my agents. That is bad leadership. The only thing you can control is getting more of them, because that's what agents do. They suck. Just kidding. You get it, right? If you need more income, then we need to insulate your business so we're not dependent on any one agent and we don't squeeze them too tight. Makes sense? That's why we build that deep bench. It just makes it safer. And if you can't handle a deeper bench, we need to develop the systems where you can. Any thoughts, questions about that? I know I can be kind of intimidating to speak to. I get a little too much of the caffeine.
Brian, what would you say the best recruiting sources are right now to build that deeper bench? Because I've been on that struggle bus for about 90 days, maybe 120. Yeah, we started in September trying to add on members to the team, and you get your raised hands, but they're probably not exactly what we're looking for. So your perspective on that would be great.
Yeah, great question. It is a struggle bus I don't think you ever get off of. It's just not fun. It's real fun when you get a bunch of them to join you, I guess, but then that goes away real fast and then you got to deal with them. So recruiting is not fun. Just like, we always want to get to a place in our business where we don't have to sit down and lead generate and make calls every day. And then and recruiting is unfortunately just as painful.
So would it be like agents in our market center? So what I've done. Right. And I'm sorry, I can ask this later or I can email you. I don't want to take up your call.
No, it's a great question. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to ask who and where we're going to get these sources.
So I've done the market center, tapping into the market center. We've posted on Indeed and Craigslist.
Good.
And
you haven't done my favor yet. You haven't done my favor yet.
The only other thing I was thinking of, and then I'd love your perspective, is maybe reaching out to agents on the MLS that have had a decline in production. Last year, and then possibly posting on social media, at least a sponsored ad, so that maybe agents are seeing that. But that's all I can think of.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, one thing I don't want you to overlook, most teams grow through new licensees. So most people actually recruit people into the business. That's what most teams do. And again, if you're like, oh, I don't know, I hate training new licensees and all that kind of stuff, that means we need to work on your onboarding systems. Okay. Because they're a lot, they come in with no bad habits.
Oh yeah, I've trained even in call centers in the past for 22 years. So I'm actually happy to have new agents because they don't bring bad habits and they fit in your models and system.
So the way to get new agents, quite frankly, this is why it's so beneficial for the lead agent, the team leader, to have a big database themselves. So most agents, believe it or not, get new licensees from their own SOI. So let's say you market to your SOI for business, right? You know, they list and buy houses with you. Now market to them and say, hey, we're looking to grow. We've got more clients than we can handle. We really want to bring some people into the business and mentor them in and we can provide them with some business. And so
I actually have 2 agents, 2 past clients, because we do like a twice a year email to the database, and 2 people just started the licensing process from a database. But that's a good reminder.
This is the most popular. So now think about all the ways you market to your SOI and turn it around. Like if you call your SOI still, I'm very impressed with you. That's awesome. A lot of team leaders are getting back in and picking up the phone right now, you know, and say, hey, I need your help. Believe it or not, I know you're hearing everything in the market, but we could use some more help. You know, who do you know? I want to work with more people like you. Who do you know that might be interested in getting into real estate? I'm looking to bring someone in without any bad habits. So you could literally call them all. You could email them all. You can shoot a video email to them all. You could actually send a mailer to them all. And you'll be surprised how many people raise their hand. Okay. And if you're worried you're going to get some people you don't want on your team respond to you, then that's a different conversation, but don't worry about that. That's like recruiting, you know, that's like lead generating, worrying about getting a no from someone or someone screaming at you on the phone. You've got to learn how to get through that, right? So you give them a disc and you tell them it wouldn't be a good fit for them based on whatever their disc profile is, and say, no, this is more of a data entry position. You're better than this, you know, and you just kind of change it and make it seem like they're too good for this. But you should make it you should be a team leader. You should do your own team. Here's how you get your license, and you help them on their own path. You know, you're too good for this. That's what I usually do. So you move them along that way. I'm not going to stay on that one too much, but don't ever not recruit to your database for fear that you're going to have to turn people away. Don't do that. Same with if you're in a big office, if you're in a large, like I heard the word market center, which makes me think big KW office. If you're in a big office, oh my goodness, that's a great stomping ground right there. Just let everybody know you're hiring. You know what I mean? Make sure everyone knows you're hiring any way you can. If there's a private Facebook group, you know, post in there and ask for forgiveness later, or get approval if you think you'll get it. A lot of offices don't like you recruiting in there. Some do, you know, that's just different for everybody.
No, I got the roster from my TL and OP because they know we're growing the team, and touch wood, we are like a performing team, like the number 1 team. So they want to retain and try to align with our goals.
So marking in there. I love the SOI first and foremost. I have found most teams that get agents that stick come through their SOI, rather than recruiting existing agents from some other place. That's my feeling. Now, I like all of the options. I like recruiting agents from other places. All that works, don't get me wrong. But I have found the most, because they come in, there's already a peer relationship. You either know each other or you know someone in common that brought you into me. And you're the person that pours into them and teaches them everything you know, which establishes a high level of loyalty. And you teach them all your systems with no bad habits, which is awesome as well. So all of that has made a very high success rate. Now, remember, it's not just your SOI, it's all of your agents' SOIs, your admins' SOIs, all of them too. So tap into all the databases. The bigger of a team you are, always is going to make things easier for you in every way, shape, or form. You have more SOIs to tap into, more people to tap into. We're gonna be very selective. We're not just gonna bring in other people from other offices without being selective. So we tell them that, we do that. And then we also do recruit in your office is huge, just making it known. I mean, be where agents are. You know, the key is, yes, definitely post on Indeed or, you know, ZipRecruiter or WiseHire, you know, if you guys have it. We'll post on all of the above. Make sure that people know you're out there. So I love having an online ad running at all times. I think that's powerful because right now people are actually looking. Make sure they know that you will give them transactions too, because you will. You're going to supplement their production when they're new. So you're going to give them some buyer side. You're going to give them some online leads. You're going to give them that. You do that right now they're like, oh my gosh, I'm starving. They're in scarcity mode right now. So as long as they know that you'll do that, I mean, you'll set more realistic expectations when they sit down and meet with you and explain to them, and you show them your dashboards and you show them what you're doing. Then you can set real firm expectations. But right then they're looking for a move. They're dying to do some sort of change, even if it's lateral. So, through this great migration of agents moving around and changing things up, you're going to see, I mean, a lot of agents right now are actually moving into bad commission splits. This is one of the markets where they don't care about their commission split as much. This is one of those few markets. They just don't care as much. And you see in it, you're seeing people going to like Place and, all these different places where they get paid 50%. I mean, you move your business to Place, you're going to make 50%. Can you imagine? That's what people are doing.
Chaotic.
In this scarcity mode. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing that. You're seeing people moving to value. And I'm not saying Place is bad. I mean, I know those people, they're great. They give value, but you're seeing people amenable to moving to a lower split because they really just want the value. They want the leads. They want the whatever they get from Place, right? So, and that's true all over the place. You're seeing people moving to like, Sotheby's and places like that actually give them, hey, I just want something of value, not just a cheap split, because they're realizing what Michael says in the chat there. 50% of zero is still zero. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what split you're on if you don't have any business. So we need to do something that gets us business. So people are willing to move. They'll also leave you for a worse split. They'll leave you for any reason. People will just leave right now. People have to move to do something. And the last thing they want to do is lead generate. So it's up to you to make sure that through this great migration, it'll be one of the biggest in history. It already is shaping up to be. Do you get more agents or do you lose more agents in this migration? Are you one of the winners at the end of this thing? Or are you one of the losers that lost a bunch? And that depends on how much effort you put forward on recruiting right now, how many agents you're talking about. I'm a big believer in being where agents are, and I hate this one too. God, I hate this. But, where do low producers hang out? Association of Realtor functions. Broker open houses. Like, I don't even like to say the words. They're so painful. Things like that. You go where the agents are and you hang out with them. But you're trying to be around them. You know what I mean? But going out and trying to recruit other agents that are existing, the good thing we know about that, I mean, that's great. But then you start to get in recruit versus hire mode. I always like to make sure they try to come to me because then they come to me humble. If you're trying to recruit someone that already knows the business and now you're like saying, well, come to me for this split. And you're also recruiting their habits with them. See, a brand new licensee for the first 6 months, they haven't learned that they actually don't have to work in real estate. A brand new licensee comes on board and expects to have this onboarding training program as if they were getting a job at Google. Like, what am I doing every day? We want you to do this all day long. A brand new agent will do that. Okay, so a brand new agent has no bad habits. So I'm going to show you this. Let me show you that, and I'll give this to you. It's not free. I just actually am building out a new team onboarding course, which is going to be live within 2 weeks. And it's called Team Onboarding. So when you bring agents on, you can just put them through my onboarding course. It's going to be long. It's going to be like 30 modules. Each one's going to be short, 15, 20 minutes, but it breaks down all the different modules from all the different courses that I know almost every team would need, because all of you generate business different ways. So you need different courses in our system because you all do things a little bit differently on how you lead generate, but there are certain universal systems on here. But let me show you this. And this has changed. This is like a new updated version of our old onboarding calendar. But they come on board. Can you imagine a new licensee who knows no better? And this is what their day looks like. At 8:30, you're going to go through our welcome checklist. 9:30, we're going to do our office and team introductions. At 10 o'clock, whatever your CRM is, we're going to do our CRM training video. At 11 a.m., you're going to do team onboarding course module 1. Then you're going to eat. Then afterwards, you're going to go through our staff checklist training, team systems training, and then you're going to finish your first day welcome checklist. Then back in here at 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, training video 2, team onboarding course number 2. Then you're going to schedule the shadow buyer consults, blah, blah, blah. So every day you're working from 8:30 to 3, time blocked. We know exactly when you're doing anything. No more of these 30, 60, 90 first quarter checklist garbage where they can do things whenever they want, because we can't let these people make decisions, or they will make crazy town decisions and they will never get them done. So now they are coming in and look, this is all self-managed. They have to do this every day. And guess what? This is the first 2 weeks, 10 days, Monday through Friday, with a break in the middle. At the end on each Friday, they meet with their team leader to make sure that they've gotten through all this and they're staying caught up, or we got to make edits to the second half of this, maybe even push later in the afternoon. because they're done every day, 3, 4 o'clock. The first 2 weeks are the hardest. And then Friday again, they meet with that team leader to make sure that they're going through it, or their sales manager or whoever. And then then we scroll down. Now we got weeks 3 and 4 here. The next 2 weeks, okay? So this is a full month now, and you'll see they're getting done a little earlier now. We're having them watch a little less videos. We're slowly pulling back. They're done an hour earlier each day. Same thing, meeting at the end of the week to get through it. Then we scroll down to weeks 5 and 6. Now we're getting done even earlier. They're getting done at 2 o'clock because hopefully they got some property to show in the afternoon, maybe some listings to take, and we're backing off the amount of videos they watch. And now we're moving into weeks 7 and 8, and now they're done every day. Nice and early. They're watching one course. And again, these are totally editable. So you can like get in here and type and change the text up and adjust it to your team's schedule and all that as well too. Again, this is all self-managed. This is stuff they have to do. All you do is show up to your team meetings and meet with them at the end of the week. They need to do everything else themselves. They will do it. They will do this if they're a new licensee, because they expect that. In fact, they always say, I'm so lost, I don't know what I'm doing, because they thought they were joining Google or some normal business that had onboarding and training. You didn't have that, so you set a bad expectation that no, this is real estate. I can come and go when I want. Well, not when you're learning, you don't. You get through all this and you generate business and you're happy because they're prospecting every morning there. Every morning they're making SOI contacts. Every morning they're prospecting for new business. They're growing their sphere of influence. You set that expectation for the entire year, or for their entire career. That's the habit they're going to have. So you hold them that tight. New agents will do that. When you recruit existing agents, though, once you get in the business for 6 months, I'll put that in the chat because I promised you I would. And that's new. I do have a team onboarding calendar for the first 2 weeks, but I'm finding a lot of you guys have not modified it for the full 3 months. So I thought I'd do it for you. Plus I'm doing it with our new course. Now the new course is listed on there, but that's the idea. And it makes them very self-managed. Now you bring in a new licensee at a normal brokerage. Within 6 months, they're going to tell themselves, I don't want to do all that. That's how quick a good agent turns into a crappy one. Within 6 months, you cannot make them lead generate. Within 6 months, you cannot make them attend a training. They already know everything they need to know, and they're negotiating with you on their split because they know their worth, right? They have no good habits, no nothing. It just takes 6 months to spoil an agent. That's why I opened this company, because I think the leaders don't know how to be leaders. And we wonder why it's so different than other brokerages and other businesses. It's because there's terrible leadership in real estate. They don't know how. I mean, these agents, when they first come on board, they come on board for the training. They want it. We just don't give it to them. They want it. For those 6 months, they'll actually, trust me, I've recruited agents to my brokerages, thousands of them, that are newly licensed, based upon the fact I have better training than my competitors. And they came just for that. They didn't even ask about the commission split because they don't know to yet. All they wanted was that training. So you have 6 months to pour into them. You got to use it. Then it's on them if they screw up. You've done all you can. If you've done all you can, you don't feel bad that you're letting them down. It also makes it less likely they're going to blame you for their failure. But they'll still do it. Why? Because they suck. That's why. It's just going to happen. That's part of the business, you know? That makes sense? But at least you've done all you can. And guess what? That whole calendar is self-managed. They have to go watch that video. They have to schedule a shadow to a buyer consultation. The first week, yeah, we got to do some onboarding training. That's just the first week. After that, it's on them to do everything they need to do. You got to meet with them at the end of the week to make sure they get through it, or your sales manager does, or somebody does. But you're already holding your team meeting anyway, so they're going to show up to that. They have to get their butt there. So are we instilling that? Because that's you doing all you can do to retain them. They have got to meet you halfway.